All right, here we go. Here is a question for you. When was the last time a client sent you an unsolicited thank you note? Not a review you asked for, not a survey response you incentivized, not a testimonial you requested for your website. I'm talking about a genuine, handwritten expression of gratitude that someone chose to send because they wanted to let you know just how much you, your work, your support meant to them. And if you're like most business owners, the answer is probably never, or maybe once, years ago. Here's the thing. I actually have collected dozens, yes, dozens of handwritten thank you notes spanning more than 30 years in business. And this week, I've been going through them. I've been thinking about what they represent. I've been thinking about what they teach us about building businesses that last with real personalized services with impact for our clients and their families. This episode is about those notes, and it's about what creates them, and it's about why I've never asked a client, would you recommend us? Hey everyone, welcome back to Just a Point of View. I'm Denise Reed, your host, and today I want to talk about something that's been on my heart lately. It's something that challenges how most of us think about customer satisfaction and business relationships. I would like to share a story with you. Last month, we, Chattanooga's, lost one of our community icons, Pat K. Brock. And if you're from Chattanooga, you know the Brock name. Brock was, or I should say, Pat was the third generation leader of Brock Candy Company, the man who brought gummy bears to America, a tireless civic servant and a trusted political advisor. But to me, Pat was something completely different. He was one of our founding clients here at the Concierge Office Suites. In fact, he stayed with us for 27 years. 27 years. Think about that for a moment. That's longer than many marriages these days. It's longer than most people stay in one career. In fact, longer than some businesses even exist. And here's what makes it even more remarkable. For many of those years, Pat and his wife Nina spent 6 months out of every year at their ranch in Montana, a place they called Knob and Kettle, near the tiny town of Ovando. Population 50, dog population 100. And as Pat would say, with that crooked grin of his, even while he was in Montana, he kept his office with us. His mail was handled, his space was ready, the relationship continued, and that's not about a lease agreement. That's about trust built over decades and supporting local business. Now, Pat wasn't just a client who paid his bills on time and kept to himself. He was engaged. He was present. He would tell us about his civic work in the community, and we'd offer connections that might help him further that work. And when people, and specifically political candidates, came to visit him for consultations, which happened often because Pat was a trusted advisor to many in the political realms, he would ask our opinions. Can you imagine? Here was a man who led a major company for decades, who had advised senators and governors, who had been named Tennessee GOP Statesman of the Year, and he valued the perspective of the people at our front desk. That was Pat. He listened. He cared. He made you feel like your voice mattered. His obituary described his gift for making everyone feel valued and his belief in the dignity and worth of every human being. And I can tell you, we saw those qualities every single time he walked through the doors. In fact, in 2022, Pat officially retired his office services with us. After 27 years, it felt like the end of an era. And he wanted to, or I should say, we wanted to do something to honor that relationship. So we did something that we had never done before. We closed the office for an afternoon and we extended an invitation to not only Pat, but Pat's wife, Nina. Let's get that tongue twisted now. There was no agenda. There was no intention of a business consultation, just a celebration of nearly 3 decades of loyalty, friendship, and shared history. It was one of those afternoons you'll never forget, filled with laughter, stories, and comfortable ease that comes from knowing someone for a long time. And of course, Nina was her delightful, warm, funny, and clearly perfect partner for Pat's wry humor and all-knowing grin. And a few days later, something arrived in the mail that stopped me in my tracks. We got two handwritten thank you notes, one from Pat and one from Nina. They both thanked us for celebrating their loyalty and doing business together, for the relationship that we had built, for the care that we had shown for over 27 years. And Pat wrote about the warm environment that we had created and how we made all of our clients feel welcome and comfortable. And he promised to drop by and stay connected, reminding us that he'd always be our oldest tenant. Nina wrote about how special that afternoon was and a rare chance to simply visit and enjoy each other's company. She noted that what we had built together went beyond professional service to become a remarkable personal friendship, one filled with laughter and genuine connection. I keep those notes in a very special place. And when Pat passed away on October 19th, I pulled them out again and read them. And I thought about what they represent, those thank you notes, those handwritten moments of gratitude. Pat and Nina's notes aren't the only ones I have. Like I said, I've been collecting these mementos for more than 25 years, and this week I spread them all out on my desk and really looked at them and reflected on the memories. Some of them are on fancy stationery, some are on simple note cards, some are long letters, actually, some are just a few lines. But every single one was sent because someone felt moved to express gratitude. And here's what I've noticed. There are patterns, themes that show up over and over again in what clients thank us for. They thank us for remembering details about their lives, for asking about their families, for noticing when they seem stressed and offering help. They thank us for flexibility, for accommodating last-minute needs, for going beyond the standard service package, for that fabulous business referral, for treating them like individuals rather than account numbers. They thank us for creating an environment where they feel comfortable, where they can focus on their work, where they're not just renting space. They're part of something, a community, a caring team. They thank us for consistency, for being here year after year, providing the same level of care, whether it's year 1 or year 27. And you know what? They almost never mention the things we think matter most: the amenities, the technology, the conference room setup, the convenient beverage service. What they remember, what they write about, are the moments when they felt genuinely cared for. Now, here's the thing that really strikes me about this collection. I never asked for any of these notes, and I've never sent a survey asking clients to rate us on a scale of 1 to 5. I've never offered an incentive for leaving a review. I've never followed up with an email saying, "Would you recommend us to a friend? Fill in this scale from 1 to 5." And honestly, I think that's exactly why these notes mean so much. Because when you ask someone to rate you, you're making it about you. You're saying, "Tell me how I'm doing. Give me a metric I can track. Help me improve my numbers." But when someone chooses to thank you, when they take the time to buy a card, write their feelings of gratitude by hand, address an envelope, and put it in the mail, that's all about them. And that's about how we made them feel. That's about a relationship that mattered enough to be acknowledged. One is a metric, the other is a relationship. So here's what I've learned from 25 plus years of collecting thank you notes instead of asking for referrals. First, real satisfaction can't be measured on a scale of 1 to 5. The experiences that move people to write thank you notes aren't about checking boxes. They're about feeling seen, valued, and cared for. Those things are qualitative, not quantitative. Second, personalization beats automation every single time. We live in an age where everything is automated. Chatbots answers questions, emails are templated, customer service is scripted, and people are starving for genuine human connection. In fact, I got a phone call from a company in Memphis, and she was just blown away that I answered the phones live. So when you close your office for an afternoon to take a long-time client to lunch, that's not scalable. That's not efficient. That's not something you can automate or delegate. But it's exactly what creates a 27-year business relationship. All right, number 3, the best referrals come from experiences worth remembering. You know what Pat did after that lunch? I am positive he told people about it. Not because I asked him to, not because I sent him a referral request, but because it was a story worth telling. That's the kind of marketing you cannot buy. That's the kind of word of mouth that actually moves people in their gut. Fourth, you can't fake genuine care. Clients can tell the difference between a business that cares about their satisfaction scores and a business that cares about them as human beings. Pat could have rented office space anywhere in Chattanooga. In fact, he probably could have bought several buildings. He could have switched to a cheaper option. He could have given up his office entirely when he started spending half the year in Montana. But he stayed with us for 27 years because he felt valued, not as a revenue stream, as a person. And finally, business relationships are still relationships. We've gotten so transactional in how we think about business. Clients are accounts. Interactions are touch points. Loyalty is measured in retention rates. But at the end of the day, business is done between human beings, and human beings remember how you made them feel. So here's my challenge for you this week. Stop thinking how to get clients to recommend you. Start thinking about how to create experiences that make them want to thank you. What would that look like in your business? Maybe it's remembering a client's birthday. Maybe it's following up on something personal that they mentioned last time you talked. Maybe it's going out of your way to solve a problem they didn't even ask you to solve before they knew it was a problem. Maybe it's closing your office for an afternoon to celebrate a relationship that matters. Whatever it is, make it personal, make it genuine, make it about them, not your metrics. Because here's what I know after 25 years in business, the thank you notes I've collected aren't just nice gestures. They're proof that when you build relationships instead of chasing metrics, you build something that lasts. Pat Brock was with us for 27 years, and even though he's gone now, the relationship we built, the care that we showed, the moments that we shared, that's still here. In those handwritten notes, in the memories, in the way his stories continue to shape how I think about business. That's the legacy I want to build, not an NPS score, not a wall of requested testimonials, but a collection of unsolicited gratitude from people who felt genuinely valued. What legacy are you building? That is the question. So thanks for listening to Just a Point of View. And I am Denise Reed, your host, and I am chasing happiness fiercely. And you can see why I am. And I hope that you'll come along for the adventure. If you have a story about a memorable thank you you've received from a client or customer, I would love to hear it. You can head over to denisereed.is and look for Just a Point of View, the page there, and leave me a message on SpeakPipe. And if this episode resonates with you, I've written more about Pat's story and the thank you note philosophy on my LinkedIn profile. And I am in the process of sharing a blog post on the Concierge Office Suites.com. So until next time, remember, one is a metric and the other is a relationship. Happy chasing happiness fiercely. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.